Donald Trump's latest executive order is going to pump a certain top altcoin. The executive order is given the green light for retirement accounts like a 401k to now hold crypto. Here's Mike Novogratz, the CEO of Galaxy, on how bullish this actually is.
We're in a bull market. Trump last night came out and talked about crypto assets being eligible for 401ks. I mean, that's a monster pool of capital. I think one of the things that I actually didn't even comprehend is these treasury companies have done so well. The public equity markets are so much bigger than what the crypto markets were. And so as we're really broadening our reach through public equities into our asset class, you're just seeing tons of money pour in.
And when he says public equities, he means these 401ks. But it's not just Bitcoin that's going to benefit. Which altcoin is also going to be added in huge amounts to these retirement accounts? Now, my prediction is going to surprise you because I have a take that nobody else is saying, but first, the details matter here. And looking at the details for this 401k, you'll see soon why this altcoin is going to pump. So this EO is allowing crypto exposure in these US 401k retirement plans. And this is in conjunction with the US Labor Department, where they're going to reevaluate restrictions around alternative assets and these defined contribution plans. What kind of alternative assets? Digital assets like crypto, private equity, and real estate. Now, what is so insanely bullish about this is there is $12.5 trillion just in the 401k amount. Now, what's insanely bullish about this is there's $12.5 trillion just in the 401k market. And 12 trillion is very significant because if you go to crypto market cap here, the total crypto market cap of every crypto, including Bitcoin, is only 3 trillion and some change. And of that 3 trillion, 2.3 trillion is just Bitcoin. So even a small 3, 4, 5% allocation from this $12.5 trillion market is going to have a huge impact on this altcoin. Now, I said I have a take that no one else has when I'm talking about this altcoin. The take that I have is a little thing called unit bias. Here's a quick 30 seconds on what I'm talking about.
What is the unit bias? The unit bias is when you think something is a better deal or more valuable just because of the way its amount or size is shown. For example, 1 Bitcoin is equal to 100 million Satoshis. Imagine you have the choice between getting 0.01 Bitcoin or 1 million Satoshis. Even though they're actually the same amount, you might feel like getting 1 million Satoshis is way more, just because the number is bigger.
So the main takeaway from unit bias is the way numbers or amounts are shown can make us feel differently about their value. So my prediction and my thesis is a lot of people are going to look at the top cryptocurrencies and they want to add some of this to their retirement accounts. They might hesitate because of unit bias. And the unit bias is going to negatively affect Bitcoin and Ethereum, but then be very beneficial for XRP. Now, I'll admit, I'm actually even a victim of this. The first crypto I ever bought when I first downloaded Coinbase back in the 2010s was XRP. I downloaded the app to buy Bitcoin, and then unit bias kicked in and I bought XRP instead. And so I think a high net worth individual who might not know a ton about cryptocurrency is going to see Bitcoin is $116,000. They're going to see Ethereum is $3,000, almost $4,000. But then they're going to see XRP is only $3. So you have 100,000, multiple thousands, $3. 100,000 thousands, $3. And I think a lot of people are going to want more of a $3 token than they want a fraction of a $100,000 token. This is not something you see enough people talk about, but unit bias is real and it definitely affects how retail puts their money into crypto. But now it's time for the XRP price prediction. I know that's what you guys really want here. So assuming this 401k rule is implemented and there is unit bias, which I think there is, we might be able to flirt with some of these previous XRP BTC levels. What we're looking at here is XRP priced in Bitcoin. You can think of the numbers above my head as just numbers of Satoshis. So right now, 1 XRP is about 2,500 Satoshis, but I think we can hit around 4,200 or maybe even 5,800, and I'll show you why real quickly in the charts. 4,200 was the previous high that we saw this previous cycle. This is 2020, and this is right before the bull run. XRP would peak around 4,200 Satoshis, but if you go back, it's just been an important level. You kind of have to go to the daily candles to see that. But you can see it was also support during a bearish period for altcoins, and also this is really close to where you saw the first level of support, the first higher low early in XRP and Bitcoin's trading timeline, and then look at there, it's also acted as support. So fairly important level, and I think there's a really good shot that we can hit the previous high from last cycle. But then we also got another level, 5,800, assuming, all things go gangbusters. And you'll notice that this is really close to what XRP's price launched at against Bitcoin on Binance. And it was after the dead cat bounce. This ended up being resistance, ended up being support here, ended up being resistance, support. You can see it's just a very, very important level. So let's do some moon math real quick. Now, normally we bust out the spreadsheets, but this time I want to show my work. I've gotten some questions. How'd you get to this number? I was trying to follow along. So we're going to do all the math very transparently here. And so again, this is XRP against Bitcoin. And so the way you would measure this, assuming Bitcoin does not change in price, XRP should pump against Bitcoin either maybe hopefully 60% or maybe 120%. So we're going to look at 60% pump and 120% pump in Bitcoin's price. So we're going to look at a 60% pump against Bitcoin and a 120% pump against Bitcoin. But as well as I know, Bitcoin is not going to stay flat at 116K. So we're going to give a little bit, maybe a moonshot target of $150,000 Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is 150,000 and XRP can hit these two blue lines, what type of prices are we looking at? First thing we need to calculate is the pump. So we're trying to get to 150,000 from 116,000. The way you would measure that percentage pump is subtract 116 from 150, you get 34. You would then divide that by 116, and this gives you the percentage gain. If we hit 150, that would be a 29% pump. So we're going to look at a 60% pump and 120% pump in addition to pumping another 29%. So looking at XRP's price, right now it was 304. Right now it is 305. We're going up. We're moving up, baby. This is the bull market. So 305 is going to be our starting point. Remember, so we pump 29%. Bitcoin does. Bitcoin pumps 29%. You would multiply this by 1.29, and this calculates your 29% pump. Gives you 393. But remember, we're expecting maybe, XRP to appreciate against Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is only 150, and this XRP line literally never moves. You would be looking at a 393. But I think XRP is going to pump against Bitcoin. Remember, we're looking at a 60% pump and a 120% pump. So multiplying this by a 60% pump, 393 times 1.6 is going to give us a potential target of a $6.29 XRP. But we want to be a little bit more bullish than that. So we would multiply 393 times 120% pump. The way you would mark that out, you would multiply it by 2.2. So this would be your 120% pump. And this is our moonshot XRP target for this cycle. You might be looking at a $8.64 XRP. I'm DZ for Discover Crypto. Keep an eye out on these 401ks. Keep an eye out on unit bias. Put that one in your toolbox. Remember that. I'm DZ for Discover Crypto, and hopefully I'll see you at the top with your XRP.